Hey, Patrick here with the fifth episode of the Main Street Money Show podcast, and we're continuing to work through the wealth steps order of operations. If you're following along on YouTube, go back and watch the first couple of videos because this does build on top of each other. And so what we're trying to do here is just lay out the different areas that cause consumers of financial products and the financial industry, they're different traps. And so, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see here 7 traps called the American dream. And you're like, oh, you know what? America's so great. The reality is, there's a lot of individuals that are in economic circumstances, financial circumstances that could have been improved if they had avoided some of the traps. And you can see those here, the conditioning trap, the mass marketing trap, the quadrant trap, credit trap, debt trap, real estate trap, the inflation trap. You're like, well, why are they traps? Well, we have to figure out what we need to avoid, whether that is financial products that we need to avoid. Financial industry spends a lot of money. I'm talking billions of dollars to condition us to buy certain financial products or to invest our money a certain way. That's what we have to figure out. Financial education starts with understanding what have we been conditioned with, were we mass marketed to. There's so many different areas, and this just isn't about the financial industry. We could talk about the pharmaceutical industry, or the different financial industry, or the different industries that's inside of the American system. And so that's something for a different day. But ultimately, we have to figure out where are our income sources coming from. An individual that worked a W-2 job is going to have different processes, different financial products, different opportunities to improve their financial situation compared to a business owner that inherited a business. I mean, there's so many different things that we have to figure out before we even start going down the path of implementing financial recommendations. We have to figure out, do we need to go back and fix our credit? Is our credit fine? Do we have an 850 credit score and credit is not an issue? Are we in debt with a mortgage, credit card debt, student loan debt? We have to figure out how we can optimize all these different areas. So going back, pulling up the weeds, but also at the same time figuring out the decisions that we need to make going forward. So whether that is holding off on buying a piece of real estate because the mortgage rates are 7%, but we've been saving, and this is the year 2017, we saved for 3 years all the way up to 2020. And then all of a sudden, real estate prices jumped up by 30-40%, and now I can't afford that new mortgage. So there's different areas that we have to understand come into play at different phases of our financial life. And you may be thinking, well, I'm about to retire. I don't have a mortgage. My mortgage is paid off. Well, do you know that your real estate property could be a potential income source in retirement for you? If you're single, don't have kids or anything like that, there's ways to leverage all these different assets that you have or that you've accumulated for the last 30 years of your life. But one of the traps that we have to figure out how to navigate, both while we're saving for retirement, but also while we're living through retirement and spending down the funds that we've accumulated, is we have to know about inflation. Inflation has beat us down so bad in the last 4 years. What are we doing to offset, losing out on 20-30% of our money? Groceries are up 20-30%. So that goes into all the different phases of your financial life. Housing is up, 20-30%. So the more and the faster that we can understand these different traps, these financial traps that are out inside of our American system, the better off that we will be, the more education that we can come to the conclusion of making these good decisions. It's a win for everybody that puts in the time and effort to learn these traps. So, these are just 7 of them. There's plenty of financial traps out there, but these are definitely big areas that, whether you're retired or whether you're working, saving for retirement, understanding them is going to point you in the right direction. So that's it for this episode. We'll continue working through the wealth steps order of operations. in the next episode. But if you get a chance, get a copy of the book, Divided Money. It's a self-help guide to building wealth, beating the financial industry, and just practical DIY considerations. There's plenty of videos, resources available for you. You can find them on my website. You can find them there. Just click on the book, click on the video series. But we will see you in the next episode.